The day I stepped back into my childhood home, the air felt heavier than I remembered, packed with memories I thought I had buried beneath years of relentless work and quiet victories. The driveway was still cracked. The old oak tree still stood stubbornly in the yard. But everything else, the worn-out porch swing, the faded paint, spoke of a life left behind. I hadn't been back in over a decade, not since I left behind their laughter, their ridicule, their outright contempt for what I dared to dream. They called me foolish, an embarrassment, a waste of time. When I told them I wanted to be a painter, a creator of worlds on canvas, they scoffed. "That's not a real job," my father sneered. "You're wasting your potential." My mother shook her head, worried and dismissive. When I announced I was going to start my own game development studio, they laughed outright, calling it childish, impossible, a pipe dream for losers. Every family gathering, every holiday, with their dismissive glances and pointed comments, they hammered home the message. I was a joke, but I believed otherwise. Deep down, I knew that art, that creation, was my calling. I worked tirelessly in the shadows, honing my craft, pouring every ounce of my soul into my small studio. Years of relentless, sleepless nights, of sacrificing the comfort of stability for the uncertain thrill of building something real. Of course, there was failure. Many failures. The initial games flopped, the art pieces were ignored, and the doubts from my family haunted me like ghosts. But I didn't stop. I read, practiced, learned, adapted. I fought for each inch of progress, driven by the idea that someday they'd see. And then it happened. My first big hit, a game I poured my heart into, became an international sensation. It broke through the noise, reached millions, won awards, and brought me undeniable success. The moment I saw my name and my work celebrated on screens across the world, a quiet, fierce joy ignited inside me. I had proved them wrong, not just with words, but with undeniable proof that dreams rooted in passion and authenticity could turn into reality. Still, I knew I had one more thing to do. One final chapter of redemption. So I came home, not just as a successful artist, but as a man who had transformed his pain into power. The house was just as I remembered, but I saw it all with new eyes, an old symbol of their doubts, now insignificant compared to the towering achievement I carried with me. I waited until they were gathered in the living room, my mother, father, sister, the same faces that once mocked and doubted, now staring at me with a mixture of astonishment, confusion, and something else. Fear, perhaps, or guilt. I paused before speaking, letting the silence settle like a storm. "I know what you thought of me," I finally said, my voice steady but heavy with emotion. "You told me I was wasting my life, that I was an embarrassment, that I'd fail and be nothing. I heard every word. I carried every insult. But I also listened, and I learned. I learned that your doubts only fueled my resolve. That my failure was never about me. It's about your inability to see beyond your limitations, your fears." I reached into my bag and pulled out the trophy. An award I had received for my game, gleaming in the dim room. I held it high for everyone to see. "This is not just a trophy," I said. "It's proof that dreams, rooted in perseverance and passion, can become reality. It's proof that being true to yourself is the greatest success of all. The room was silent, their eyes flickering between the award and my face, searching for some sign of mockery, some reason to dismiss what I was saying. But I saw it. Something shifting in their expressions, a crack in their veneer of superiority. Then my father, who had once mocked me mercilessly, looked down, visibly shaken. For a long moment, he said nothing. Instead, he reached out and shook my hand. Slowly, awkwardly, but with genuine respect. That moment, when he looked at me not as the joke, but as a man who had beaten the impossible, was something I carried forever. A quiet, powerful affirmation that sometimes the greatest victories are not the trophies or awards, but the breaking of old chains. I turned to my mother, who had tears in her eyes, and whispered, "I did this for us, for everyone who ever told me I couldn't. But more than that, I did it for myself, to prove that no one can define my worth but me." As I left that room, I felt a profound weight lift from my soul. I had come back not just as a successful creator, but as a man who understood that the real victory was in standing tall, despite the doubts, the ridicule, and the pain. Life, I realized, is a series of tests, each one designed to teach us that the only validation that matters is our own, that failure is merely a stepping stone, not a conclusion, that the courage to pursue what sets our soul ablaze is what ultimately rewires our destiny. And so, I walked away from that house, knowing that I had rewritten my story, and in doing so, had shown them the truth I had always carried, that a dream pursued with relentless passion can turn the impossible into the inevitable. Karma is not just punishment or reward. It's the universe's way of aligning us with our true purpose. And I knew then, without a shadow of doubt, that I had finally earned my place in this world, not just as a successful artist, but as a living testament to the power of perseverance, faith, and authenticity. Because in the end, no matter how dark the night, the dawn is always waiting to break through. And when it does, it illuminates the path for those brave enough to follow their truth.